Hello everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to another League One roundup. What a set of fixtures we've got in store for you today. 4 games I've pinpointed from today's League One action. This will be coming out, of course, on Sunday for you. How did your team get on? Are you happy with your team's result? Let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, we'll be breaking down 4 games tactically, looking at the star players, looking at the statistics, looking at the momentum graph, and what it means for your club going into the rest of the campaign. Like I said, some incredible games, 21 goals across the 4 games we're going to be talking about today. Let's get straight into it, starting off with Doncaster against Sheffield Wednesday. So here we are then. What an interesting game this is going to be. Doncaster, who, like I said, we'll have a look at the league table first. 23rd in the league. A little bit hot and cold at the moment in the last 5 games. 3 defeats, 2 wins. But like I said, still in that relegation zone. 23rd in the league and 6 points away from safety. So they need to start getting some results today. And a home game against Sheffield Wednesday, it wasn't going to be easy. Sheffield Wednesday still hovering outside those playoff places. Now joint on point to the team in 6th, being Wycombe. Another win today really did help their cause. They push in, or attempt to push in, should I say, to that top 6. Only goal difference separates themselves from 6th, being Wycombe. So a really interesting game, this one. And again, it's definitely going to be Sheffield Wednesday, the favourites for it. But you never know. Home advantage this season has been absolutely incredible and proved to have some really interesting impacts on games. Now, we'll have a look at the stats in just a second. First, I want to take you over to this momentum graph. It's always a good place to start. It gives us a really good idea of how these games panned out and exactly how these games were sort of shown from a visual perspective. And in graph, I think it's the best way of showing it. And you can see here, Sheffield Wednesday being the away side, them being in blue, makes it a little bit easier to break down. And I mean, just from looking at it straight away, it's absolutely all Sheffield Wednesday. And you can see in the first half, I mean, Doncaster got their goal just before half-time, sort of in that sort of probably one of about 4 spikes in the game. And even those spikes have been really quite small. If you compare the ones that Doncaster had in the first half to even some of the ones that Sheffield Wednesday had in the first half as well, you can see how dominant Sheffield Wednesday were. And when they came forward and when they were attacking, they really were quite impressive. And like I say, in the second, in sort of the end of the game, sort of when they got the 3 goals, you can see there exactly when they got their goals. At that point in the game, they were absolutely clinical, going forward, really good in an attacking sense, and caused Doncaster so many different problems. And again, that came down to Sheffield Wednesday probably in the end proving to be the better side. I think that was quite shown in the end with the amount of times that they were going forward, especially in that second half. They probably didn't let Doncaster breathe in terms of the way they were sort of wave after wave attacking that Doncaster defence and that Doncaster side. And like I said, we look at the formations, exactly the same formations, both of which went into this game with. And again, this sometimes can sort of prove an interesting aspect of it when you've got 2 sides playing the same formation. With the home side being Doncaster, it was always going to be interesting to see how tactically this game planned out. And you can see there straight away. In the end, it was all Sheffield Wednesday, especially the second half when they got those 3 goals. Sheffield Wednesday absolutely ran riot. So the game was quite tight not tight in terms of scoreline, and Doncaster started taking the lead just before half-time. The perfect time to score, and then sort of at points you felt that it just almost got a bit too much for Doncaster, and as that attacking momentum just became stronger and stronger as the game went on, you sort of felt that it looked like that Doncaster defence and Doncaster side just almost collapsed slightly, and Sheffield Wednesday sort of came in there and took probably what they'll look at something that they deserve, really. Interestingly, it went 1-1 with Callum Patterson, and then Barry Bannon got a penalty save. And you thought maybe at that point that it could have changed straight away. You could have, Doncaster maybe got a point out of it. Maybe that could have been Sheffield Wednesday's heads gone completely down, and that could have changed the game completely. But it wasn't to be. Sergio Berahino, of course, the ex-West Brom man, makes it 2-1 in the 80th minute, just 2 minutes after Barry Bannon's penalty miss. And then Barry Bannon makes up for his penalty miss and scores in the 83rd minute to seal the game and win that game 3-1. So for Sheffield Wednesday, we go back to that league table now. We'll look at the stats as well. A dominant Sheffield Wednesday performance. You can see it by looking at that graph, but 68% possession in total. More shots on target, more block shots, more big chances. 5 big chances created, 4 of them being missed. It looks like they've missed a lot of chances in that game. It could have been a much higher scoreline than just the 3 of them. We'll look at those corner kicks as well. 9 corner kicks to their 0. Not a single corner for Doncaster as they continue to struggle in 23rd in the league. A lot of points they need to not a lot of points, but they need to get 6 points to get themselves out of the playoffs and hope that other teams around them continue to lose. They need to start getting themselves and think of themselves first and foremost, start getting some wins on the board. It wasn't going to be easy today. I'm not saying they should have won the game against Sheffield Wednesday, but being 1-0 up, they maybe could have hoped they could have hung on that second half, but it looked as though Sheffield Wednesday were very dominant in the second half and deserved the win. And for them, They're climbing up the League One table now, as they have been pretty much through the season. They're just sort of outside those playoffs, and it's just goal difference that separates them from the playoff places. You just think now a win, and they're 1 point away from fourth. That's how tight it is. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Darren Moore's Sheffield Wednesday approaches the rest of the game. But it finishes at Doncaster. Doncaster 1, Sheffield Wednesday 3. So then, next up, let's go to Bolton, a side who lost to Burton in midweek. And again, a side that are really trying to knock on the door of playoffs, trying to put in a real push for the playoffs. And it took a bit of a setback on Tuesday night against Burton. So it's important to see a reaction from this Bolton side today. I think we got that. I think Bolton fans will certainly be happy with the reaction that they got. Home game, again, they needed to make sure they proved to the fans that they are still in contention for a playoff place. It wasn't over against Burton, but they certainly need to put that behind them and make sure they didn't derail their season. I remember doing an episode, it was the playoff episode I did, and if you haven't watched that, do check that out. I sort of broke down everyone's chances of the playoffs and getting into that top six. I said for Bolton, against Burton, it's down to that, not just that result being unhelpful, because it is definitely a disappointing result. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice chance. It would have been a good chance for them on the road to get 3 points and continue on a great form. And it did put the end of a really good running campaign in terms of the way they were playing their football and the results they were getting. So it was important for them to get the points there. They didn't get it, but it was even more significant and even more important. They didn't let that derail their season. And they came into this game today with that behind them. And this game being solely based on, we know the quality they've got, they just need to show it. And he did that absolutely brilliantly. In that first half, they came into the half-time break 1-0 up, but we look at this momentum graph straight away. You can see so dominant in that first half for Bolton. I'm surprised it was only 1-0 really in that first half. Only the second, just right at the end before half-time, AFC Wimbledon had a few chances, or a chance in the game, had their biggest spike in the game across those 90 minutes. And it should have been, probably looking at that, more than 1-0 for Bolton at half-time. In the second half, it felt as though every big attacking spike and every moment that Bolton came forward in an attacking sense ended in a goal. And we saw that really come to fruition there. Really good attacking play, really good relentless attacking momentum in the second half for Bolton. They got 3 more goals. They comfortably win this game 4-0. So dominant. Didn't really give AFC Wimbledon a sniff in the game. And if you do that, you've got really good chances. The best chance of winning a game of football. Again, we look at these stats as well. 60% possession for Bolton. Very dominant in that. Again, we look at that momentum graph. It doesn't just show us the attacking momentum. It also just shows how dominant they were in terms of having the ball and what they were going to do with it. You can see there, 60% possession for Bolton in the game. So dominant, so in control of this game. He says 17 shots to absolutely brainwash. AFC Wimbledon 6. We look at these big chances created, 3-0. Not a single big chance for AFC Wimbledon in the game, so that's going to be really disappointing from there. But again, you can't really see a big chance. Maybe you would suggest that just before half time they had a big chance, but other than that, absolutely quiet. Look at this side as well. 7.39. It looks like every single player in this Bolton side had a fantastic game today. And again, you need that. And if you are going to be like that, then you're going to have a better chance of winning. If everyone's on the same wavelength, everyone's in a good run of form, you can have a really good chance of winning a game. You saw that today. Bolton, phenomenal. Every single player doing such a good job. And Dapper Lion, the man for Bolton, doing a fantastic job once again. Dion Charles getting back on the scoreline as well. We know how he's been this season in terms of scoring goals. Another goal for him today as well. So impressive. Fair play to them. They did a really good job. And getting back to winning ways was so important for Bolton. In terms of league table, they're still in 10th, though they haven't moved in that sense. But 48 points, 55 points, of course, is 6th place. So, again, they are 7 points away from where they want to get to. However, they've got a bit of momentum now. They've got to get back into the swing of things. And it was important that they did that. And they made sure that was capable. And they were capable of doing such a thing. For Wimbledon, another concerning result really for them. They continue to lose again. 31 points now. Again, it's not looking good for them. They need to sort themselves out really to try and get a win. I know it's easier for me to say sat in front of a camera talking to you about it, but look at it from a very neutral perspective. They want to try and get themselves out of a relegation battle. They need to start getting some points, because if they're not careful, they're going to drag themselves into. I mean, they're already in a relegation battle for just generally, but get themselves away from that. They really need to start turning things around. A 4-0 defeat again today is not going to be confident, going to give them any sort of confidence. So a bit of a concern there for AFC Wimbledon, still outside the relegation zone at this point though. Either way, it finishes Bolton 4, AFC Wimbledon 0. A fantastic result. Fair play to them. So impressed for Bolton as they continue their late push for the playoffs. So, next then, we're going to go to an absolutely incredible Sunday League scoreline. It should not happen in football, but it has. 5-5, 10 goals in a game. 5-5. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You should not be conceding 5 goals as a defender in League One or any professional football. And both defensive conceded 5 goals in the game today. What an incredible scoreline. Let's have a little look at this then. First and foremost, let's have a look at this league table. Cheltenham, who are actually unbeaten in the last 5 games, 40 points to find themselves out now on 15th place in the league table. Again, I don't think they're going to be looking at players. I think that might be a bit out of reach, but they certainly are now looking at a few more wins. They're going to be a comfortable side in mid-table. Really, really impressed with Cheltenham this season. So impressed with what they've done. In terms of Wycombe, they're not in great form. The last 5 games has not been good enough. Another draw again today. They're on a bit of a bad run, Wycombe. They need to sort themselves out in terms of making sure they get back to winning ways. If they want to stay in the top 6, they need to get another win because their form at the moment could see them drop out of these playoff places. They need to make sure they continue, get themselves out of this rut they find themselves in at the moment. But let's look at this game on face value. It starts off, Alfie May scores to make it 1-0 after 3 minutes. A brilliant start for Cheltenham. And then Jordan Obita with 2 goals makes it 2-1. And then Brandon Hanlon makes it 3-1. And just like that, it's 3-1. You're thinking, I think that might be it for Cheltenham. That could be dead and buried for them at this point. Half-time, 3-1. They scored early, Cheltenham, but Wycombe came back with a response. They looked good. They looked very, very clear what they were trying to do in terms of now in control of the game. Going into half-time, 3-1. Surely game over. Absolutely not. Second half, 52nd minute. Alfie May gets his second of the game, 3-2. Kieran Tete makes it 3-3 in the 66th minute. They're back level again. Unbelievable resilience from Cheltenham. Unbelievable way of understanding that yes, you are 3-1 down, but the resilience and the hard work and the togetherness I think they showed in this game was absolutely phenomenal. To get it back to 3-3, that shows real dedication and real resilience, like I've already said. And then 4-3, Sam Vokes, 5-3, Sam Vokes again. Then you think, that's it. You got it back to 3-3. You've done an amazing job. And then 4-3, 5-3, 20 minutes to go. Surely that's over. Surely that's dead and buried. We gave it our best, but I think it might be over. Well, no, because Alfie May scores again. His hat-trick, 5-4, game back on, 71st minute. 2 minutes after Sam Vokes scores the 5th, his second, 5-4. Alfie May again. And then in the 81st minute, 9 minutes to go, Alfie May scores his 4th goal of the game, makes it 5-5. An incredible equaliser, a incredible moment for Cheltenham, and incredible for Alfie May as well. What a game that Alfie May had. In terms of highlighting star men, Alfie May is exactly that star man. What a game he had today. 4 goals, 7 shots on target, 41 touches, 2 key passes. He was absolutely phenomenal today. 10 out of 10 SofaScore rating. Thoroughly deserved. 5-5, 4 goals for him. The resilience that Cheltenham showed, the dedication, the momentum in the game as well. We look at this attacking momentum. Every spike in the game ended in a goal. Cheltenham started the game really, really well and got that early goal. Then quite quiet, and then Wycombe had a really good moment in that first half, got 3 goals, goes to half-time, surely dead and buried. Second half, came out. Cheltenham really are the better side in that second half, other than that sort of spike in the, I'd say, the 65th minute, where Wycombe and then getting their 2 goals. Sam Vokes got his 2 goals. Other than that, Cheltenham was so good, so good in terms of always creating a problem going forward. Got 4 goals, absolutely sublime, and score and make it 5-5 in that second half. Absolutely outstanding. And again, that is, for me, an absolutely brilliant performance for Cheltenham. And they'll come out of that game now thinking that's the confidence they need. In terms of staying up, I don't think that's going to be a problem. They've been absolutely brilliant this season. A newly promoted side come into this league and they look like they've been here for a few years. And again, that's complete credit goes to Cheltenham. And for Wycombe, it's disappointing. It really is disappointing to concede 5 goals against a side that's just been promoted. I don't mean that in a patronising way. For a side that was trying to get back into the Championship, that were in the Championship last season, 5-5. They could have lost the game. So in that sense, they're going to be looking at it going, at least we didn't lose. But fair play to Cheltenham. Fair play to them. They caused Wycombe so many different problems. Fair play to Alfie May. He had an absolutely outstanding game. The stats are going to be so interesting to look at. Only 1 big chance in the game as well for Cheltenham, and for 3 big chances for Wycombe. Really quite interesting that. 52% possession. Cheltenham went there and had more possession at Wycombe. Really quite fascinating that. What a game that is in League One. What a game that is for Cheltenham. What a game it is for Wycombe, really. But that is absolutely brilliant. To be honest, looking at it from a bit of I'm going to be quite harsh here, but looking at it from a neutral, from Oxford perspective, I'd say, a playoff rival like Wycombe dropping points at home to Cheltenham, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And Wycombe are an absolute a really bad run of form at the moment, and that's not something they're going to be looking at too pleased about, because they need to get themselves back into winning ways if they are to continue to stay in that top 6. Anyway, finally, let's move on to the final game we're going to talk about, Sunderland against MK Dons. I think I'm going to say, why is it failing for Sunderland? I think that might be the title, but what is going wrong at Sunderland? Out of the playoffs now. Something's happening at Sunderland. Something really quite concerning is happening at Sunderland. I think it's a lot of different things. I think the confidence of that football club is at rock bottom. I think that the fans are getting more and more frustrated as this goes on. Now being outside of the playoffs, dropping points at AFC Wimbledon last week. First game for Alex Neil. You think you're not happy with it, but you think at least we didn't lose. We got a point. We didn't play very well at all, but we got a point. But today, at home, against MK Dons, so I've got to be honest, they're a good side. They're doing well this season. You look what they are in the league table. They're third in the league. They're doing very, very well. They're a very, very good side who, again, have caused a lot of problems for a lot of teams in this league because of the quality they've shown. There's no doubt about that. But at home, with the quality that Sunderland have got, the players that Sunderland have got, they lose 2-1 at home. Something is going horribly, horribly wrong there at Sunderland. When we look at this attacking momentum graph, again, MK Dons, they had their moments. The first half, I'd say it's probably more MK Dons, but then equally, Sunderland had patches. Second half, it probably was more Sunderland. But in the moments, and being very, very clinical, really, MK Dons took their chances, won the game 2-1. It looks like a case of Sunderland not really taking advantage of spikes and attacks in games. We'll look at these stats as well. We'll look at these big chances. I mean, to be fair, MK Dons had 3. They missed 1. Sunderland had 1 and missed 1, so that's interesting. So it didn't look like they had massive chances, but it definitely looked like they had more attacking in more attacking momentum in that sense, and they should be doing much better than that. And at home as well, I would dread to think what the reaction was at full time there, because there's something horribly, horribly going wrong at Sunderland, and they've now formed themselves up the side of the playoffs. I think going on a bad run is bad enough, but then now seeing you generally slip down the table out of the top 6, I think there's going to be a real sense of, right, this is happening now. What are we going to do? Because we're now out of the playoffs. We are now not in that top 6. What are we going to try and do? So there's going to be a real sense of concern. There was a concern anyway. I think now falling out of that top 6, there's a real sense of failure there, and they need to sort themselves out really quite quickly. Because like I said, the minimum expectation, like I said, I did an episode on it a few weeks ago, why sacking's Lee Johnson could be the biggest mistake they make this season. And I said, it felt like a decision that was probably coming, but should you give him till the end of the season? Now, again, I don't know. Alex Neil might be the reason they go on and get promoted. He very much might be. But I think at the moment, Alex Neil might be thinking now, I've got a bit of a bigger task than I maybe thought I did. I think we all knew there's quality in that squad. There's such quality in that squad, but someone's got to come in and make it click. He's got to regroup. He's got to reorganise. He's got to sort themselves out. And that's not easy. That's really quite difficult to do. How's he going to do it? I'm intrigued. He's got to do it. He has to be able to do it, but it's going to be interesting. I'm not saying, by the way, that Lee Johnson was the man to do it. I just think maybe the timing of that now. What I'm trying to say, I expected a bigger reaction to Lee Johnson going. I thought that there'd be a big reaction when he went. There'd be a big shift. The new manager come in, even bigger shift. They go on to get promoted in the end fairly comfortably. Wow, they might still go and do that, but it's not looking great at the moment. Like I said, outside of the playoff places now, horrific form. 55 points now. Like I said, I mean, they are only 1 point off fourth still, so it's not, panic stations, but they are outside of the playoffs. Another disappointing result today at home. For MK Dons, brilliant win. I mean, they're now continuing to knock on the door of automatic playoff places. I mean, might be a little bit out of reach. You look at Rotherham, got a game in hand on them. Wigan have got 3 games in hand on them, so that might be too much of an ask. But in terms of them definitely consolidating a place in the playoffs, I think MK Dons really are trying to do that. And Sunderland for them, it is not looking great. We look at individual players in the game as well. Mohamed Issa got a goal for the Dons, for Ross Stewart, and for Sunderland, he got a goal in that game as well. He did fairly well in the game, getting their only goal of that game. But it's not ideal, is it? It's not ideal at Sunderland. For MK Dons, they deserve the credit. They've gone to Stadium of Light, they got 3 points, and they're doing very well this season. So they can't take anything away from that. But for Sunderland, there really is a level of concern on what they're going to do to turn this around, because something needs to happen, and something needs to happen quickly. Fair play to MK Dons. It doesn't look like they had the best game in the world, but they went there, they got the 2-1 win, they came with the 3 points at one of the toughest grounds to go and get a point at, one of the biggest grounds to go and get a point at, and they ended up getting 3. So fair play to them. Liam Manning and MK Dons, brilliant this season, again, brilliant this afternoon. What are Sunderland going to do now? Well, I can't wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the roundup for League One. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments down below what you thought of your team, or show support by hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell as well. That way you'll never miss an episode of the podcast, and always know when I go live or do a recorded episode just like this one. If you haven't left a like, please do that as well. Until next time, stay safe, take care. Another fantastic week in League One. I'll see you very soon. See you in a bit.